Can Jimmy Garoppolo go 3 weeks without an interception? Are the Falcons a trap game? And is the 49ers defensive line going to be healthy enough to create pressure on Marcus Mariota? We'll answer those questions next on the Sprint Ride Option Podcast.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Ride Option Podcast. Oh my goodness, Jason Aponte. We are not live right now for the second time this season because Jason Aponte is going to be in Atlanta for the 49ers game. So when you guys are watching this, Jason Aponte is going to be in Atlanta. I will only call it Hotlanta when Jason Aponte is there. It is Atlanta when he's not. Jason, how you doing on this lovely Thursday where we're trying to make people believe it's Friday?
Right. Focus on the 49ers because the Yankees were rained out. Yes. But shout out to the Houston Astros to moving on to their sixth straight LCS. Thanks a lot, Seattle Mariners. But yeah, they're already up 2-0. It's over. It's done. It's over. It's done, Andrew. It's done.
As fun as it was to talk about the Mariners and all that stuff.
Done.
This is what happens when the Cinderella story.
Their chance was game one. Their chance was game one. You cannot give up that lead in game one and then expect to come back and win any more games. It's over. They're getting swept, unfortunately. Sorry. Thank you for coming, Seattle. It's been fun. Had some laughs, killed some time, but thank you for not even denting the Houston Astros even a little bit for everyone else.
I was in a baseball Twitter space the other day because I don't do the 49er Twitter spaces anymore. And I I asked the guy, there's an Astros, the guy who does Locked on Astros podcast. He was in there. And I was like, hey, like just curious question. Would you rather face the Guardians knowing they're not as good as the Yankees? Or like, would you rather face the Yankees because ownage is kind of ownage? And he straight up was like, I'd rather face the Yankees. So there's your fun little fact. But I think the Yankees can do it this year. But we're not here to talk about the Yankees, Jason, are we? Are we? I mean, we could. I'd be okay with it. I don't know if the viewers would be okay with it, but I'd be fine with it.
I mean, by the time you watch this episode, it'll be 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time, and the Yankees will have gone up 2-0 on the Guardians. That's me foreshadowing what's going to happen. We nailed it last time when we had our show with the Rams and Bills. Why not go for it for a second time with the New York Yankees?
Actually, by the time this podcast is airing, the Yankee game should be over.
It will be over.
Yeah, so yeah, 2-0, only 2-0. You're only giving the Yankees 2 runs?
No, not 2-0. They'll be up 2-0. That's all that matters. I don't care how they win. They'll be 2 games up to none.
I'm so in football mind. I forgot baseball does the series thing. What an idiot I am. No, we're absolutely here. We're here to talk 49ers, Atlanta Falcons. And we'll start with the second question we posed in the little intro we had because I think it's a big question about trap game. And I want to apologize to Avatar up front. If he's here, I hope he's here.
Yeah.
Do you know the Atlanta Falcons are 5-0 against the spread this year? Their biggest loss is their closest or their biggest like point spread within a game has been 6 points this year. Every game they have played has been within 6 points. So they have been able to keep things close. And I know their schedule they haven't played any powerhouses. They lost to the Rams. They lost to the Buccaneers. They've lost to the Saints. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the Browns. Those are their 5 games. I just listed them for you. But all of them have been relatively close. The Niners, they have a very tough stretch of their schedule coming up. They have the Chiefs. They have the Rams, the bye week, the Chargers. We know. Are we a little concerned about it, Jason?
No, I just think the 49ers will still win this game. They just won't win it in a fashion that we saw against the Carolina Panthers. I think we do owe Avatar a bit of a apology, and I apologize to him. I believe it was on the post game or whatever it was. You know, they are pretty good. Now, what you do want to take away from this and say is the New Orleans Saints, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Tampa Bay Bucks are all in the same division. Those games are weird. But then when you look at the Rams game, right, like, what do we know about the Rams right now? Their defense isn't exactly lighting it up. But I will say this. We do owe a bit of an apology because we assumed, this is just going to be a walk in the park. I don't think it will. I still think the 49ers are going to win, but it'll be much closer than anybody's liking, right? Like, nobody likes to watch football for 3 hours for their team, be sweating the entire time, have your heart racing, and then, when the game's over, you feel that elation. But this kind of feels like one of those games where the 49ers are going to play a very close game with the Atlanta Falcons. So shout out to Avatar for calling that out earlier. And don't listen to us bozos.
Now let me go counterpoint, because I do agree. I think Atlanta's been better than we gave them credit for. The 49ers offense has looked pretty good these past 2 weeks. 61 points, 724 total yards, 1 turnover, and obviously 2-0 in the last 2 weeks. And Carolina and Los Angeles defenses aren't particularly bad. They're both more or less middle of the road. Atlanta is a bottom defense. They've allowed the 5th most total yards. They've allowed the 12th most points. And with the way, dare I say, and this might be the segue into the next conversation, with the way Jimmy Garoppolo has been performing, I think that's the one out that we're going to have that says this is a blowout. Because, as I said, the Rams and the Panthers, not the best defenses, but definitely not the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta leans closer to worse defenses. Deion Jones isn't even there anymore. I know for what.
I mean, he was on IR.
He was on IR too, so like not a big deal, right? Whatever. It's a name that I'm sure people see and say, "Hey, he's gone now, so good thing." This defensive unit is not great. The Niners' offense has been rolling 2 weeks. That's the one place I'm going to say, hey, maybe this is a bit more of a blowout than we think it's going to be. But then on the other side of things we're going to talk about later, there's a lot of the Niners. I don't know if you've heard this one before, Jason, but the Niners, they're dealing with some injury stuff right now. Don't know if that's something you've heard yet.
Color me shocked.
I know, right? That's never happened before. We've never had to talk about injuries on the Sprint Ride Option podcast, wherever you get your podcasts at. But I think that's the one thing, because I feel really, really good about where this Niners offense is. And I know that's a very fleeting feeling sometimes because of what the quarterback is, because us saying that Jimmy Garoppolo's had a good last week doesn't mean we think he's a top 10 quarterback already. Like, that's not how that works.
Are you sure, Andrew?
Just because we say he's good for 1 week doesn't mean we're saying anything other than that. So obviously there is a world that exists where Jimmy Garoppolo reverts a little bit back to what we saw in Denver. That's always exists. But if the last 2 weeks is the trend, I don't know. I think this offense can continue its role against a very struggling Atlanta defense. And I know Atlanta's offense might get one of their biggest weapons back in Kyle Pitts. I know he's limited in practice the past couple of days. This game could be closer than some people think, but with how bad Atlanta's defense is, maybe it won't be. I'm a podcaster. I don't have to really stick my neck out there yet, do I?
Right. No, and Andrew, here's the thing about the 49ers offense, and I feel that the discussion has become a bit overblown. When you look at the result of drives in Carolina, there were 2 punts, a blocked field goal, which would have been points, and a fumble, which probably would have led to more points.
Yeah.
So the offense is fine. The offense is absolutely fine. It's not as dire as anyone wants you to believe it is. Oh, I need to see the offense get in gear. Well, Jeff Wilson ran for 100 yards. Tevin Coleman scored 2 touchdowns. They only punted the ball twice. They had a blocked field goal. They had a fumble. I don't know what more you want from an offense against a defense that they should take care of. So it is rolling. It's trending in the right direction. Whatever I said about George Kittle last week and his touchdown, mark it down for this week and just say you are a week late, Jason, because I think this is the week that George Kittle gets going. You could see a concerted effort early on to get him involved, and that is encouraging. Yeah, I don't think that the offensive troubles are anywhere near as bad as anyone wants to make it seem, and I do think that they are trending in the right direction. Now, there's always the wild card. Now, wild card is a handsome card. His name's James Garoppolo.
Oh, I thought it was Jason Aponte.
Oh, no. I'm not the wild card because I'm very calm, right?
I just heard the word handsome.
No, well, handsome applies to Jimmy Garoppolo, man. Here's the thing. I don't think he's going to turn the ball over in this game, but we don't know. And again, to reiterate Andrew's point, oh man, last week Jimmy Garoppolo played well. Oh my God, I can't believe you're sipping the Kool-Aid and you're what on earth? Being objective and saying that the man played good football, it doesn't matter the opponent, is not us all of a sudden turning into Jimmy Garoppolo's better than Patrick Mahomes. And it's a weird narrative that's out there. And it just goes to show that people have a tough time even saying the slightest of nicest things about Jimmy Garoppolo, even when it's objectively true. He played a very good game on Sunday.
Yeah, and people aren't giving Carolina's defense really enough credit. I know it's not the top namiest of defenses, if that's a term.
It is.
But like top namiest, right? It's
Namiest.
Brian Burns and co pretty much, because the Niners also, there's a couple injuries on Carolina's secondary.
Derek Brown.
Carolina's defense has been fine this season. It's not like we're talking about him cooking the Atlanta Falcons and overrating it, right? They did face a decent defense, and for what it's worth, the Commanders and Bears just kicked off. This is my way of reminding people we are not live. I'm going to randomly update the Bears Commanders game. It is happening right now. It is Thursday, so just so you guys know. Jason, you mentioned George Kittle too. We talked about this about Atlanta versus tight ends, and I looked it up. On average this season, tight ends against the Falcons defense, 6 receptions for about 54 yards. And that average should be even higher because in week 1, Taysom Hill had 1 reception for 2 yards as a tight end. And that was all they gave up against tight ends in week 1. So that should be up a little bit more. That's dropping it a bit. So this definitely feels like it could be a George Kittle game. Write it down. He's going to score a touchdown this week. That's the first time I've ever said that. But I think that's something to watch. And then also, too, I know I hinted at it a little bit on Monday's podcast. I shorted up, cleaned it up a little bit. Jimmy Garoppolo has gone 3 consecutive regular season games without an interception before. However, it was over the stretch of 2 seasons. It was week 17 in 2019 through week 2 in 2020. He has not done it yet in the span of 1 regular season. And yes, so if people want to say that we're falling into the trend of what Jimmy Garoppolo is and saying he's a great quarterback, we'll fall back on that and say that is a concerning trend as well. This isn't coincidence. Jimmy Garoppolo has been the starting quarterback now for give or take 5 years. Wow, time flies. Jesus Christ. But
time flies when you're stressing and you're not having fun.
Time flies when you're stressed and when there's an international pandemic as well, I guess. But it is a trend to be concerned. He's never done it within the stretch of 1 season. It is something to watch. So what does that mean? I don't know. Does it mean he's guaranteed to throw an interception? No, but it is something to watch for. I don't think it's as bad as people think it is because, as I said, he's done it before. It just was over the stretch of 2 seasons. Jimmy Garoppolo has been playing very good football, maybe the best football we've seen since the last 5 weeks of 2017 from him, right? I think that's something to say as well. Maybe 2019 he had a stretch that I'm blocking out because I forgot about 2019 since they lost that Super Bowl.
I would say it was 2019 that I've seen him play.
Probably okay. Then we'll go 2019. I'll agree with you there because I'm probably blacking some stuff.
The Saints, the Rams, the Cardinals. It was like all in that same stretch.
I should remember that because when I was writing for Niners Wire, I legit wrote an article after the Saints game that said like, "Hey, he's not gonna win MVP, but like let's at least like put him on the graphic that says he's in the conversation." Mm-hmm. Like Lamar's winning MVP, but like let's just get like how we have the Andrew Luck, Patrick Mahomes, Nick Mullins graphic. Like just get Jimmy on there just for fun. I don't even know where we're at this point. We're just talking Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, we're talking best stretches of Jimmy Garoppolo's play. Yes. And this ranks up there in its 2 weeks, regardless of opponent, But I would still say I would give the nod in 2019, the Saints, the Rams, the Cardinals, where he threw interceptions early but got it done later on. Yeah, like and that's fine. But yeah, look, it's just people have it confused as they're like, well, you're impressed with mediocrity. You're impressed with No, for the large amount of NFL teams, if the quarterback doesn't turn the ball over and is wildly efficient, that team is in a good position to win. Doesn't just apply to Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah. Now, other quarterbacks have to offset some of the roster deficiencies with their team, meaning defense isn't as good. Maybe your coach isn't as good. So they do have to do a little bit more. Obviously, quarterbacks are the ones who get the win, and they're the ones who are the most scrutinized after wins and losses. But at the same time, don't confuse what the 49ers need for what you want from a quarterback. And that's the part that is the most frustrating when I see the discourse around Jimmy Garoppolo and how people are just literally saying the words, "He played well on Sunday," which is absolutely 100% objectively no argument true. Yes. Like, I don't want to hear an argument about that. But yes, it all hinges on how efficient and how clean he can play. If he plays clean, this team is an incredibly hard out. And that's why everybody is so bullish on the 49ers, especially when you look around the NFC.
And as I said on Monday a little bit as well, Jason, like on average, the last 2 weeks, Jimmy Garoppolo has averaged 246 yards in the 2 games, 492 total. And as I said, like 246 in 2022 terms isn't amazing. It's not the best. It's fine. But that's the Jimmy Garoppolo paradox, dare I say, is that's all you need is him to be fine. Because his fine 246 yards on average led to a 24-9 win over the Rams and a 37-15 win over the Panthers. His fine makes the Niners Super Bowl contenders. And I'm not going to hear otherwise, really. Like, yes, I get it. Did they lose to Denver because of how poor he played? Absolutely. And I will give you that. When Jimmy Garoppolo is bad, this team looks significantly different. I am not asking Jimmy Garoppolo to be perfect. I'm not asking him to be great. I'm not even asking him to be good. Just be fine. And this Niners team, and he has no problem being fine.
I was about to say, if you need him to be fine, he's fine 365 days.
He's fine quite a bit. But I just think that's where the discourse gets lost, is because when people in 2022, when people think of great quarterback performances, they think of 325 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And that's fair because that's what the NFL is now. But the rules are different for the Niners because that's how complete this team is. And this defense has not allowed more than 19 points in a game this season, more than 15 once. 20 points isn't a lot for an offense to get in today's NFL. And that's all Jimmy Garoppolo has to do.
Yeah. And again, if you're objectively looking at the trends, you are seeing an offense that is getting it in gear. You are seeing an offense that is clicking a lot better. You're seeing a quarterback who's seeing it a lot better and playing some of his best football. Again, if you look at the drives from the Carolina game, 2 punts and a fumble and a blocked field goal. Those are the only reasons, obviously the punts, that's good on the defense. But a fumble's out of Jimmy Garoppolo's control. A blocked field goal, which he set up, out of his control.
2 drops.
Right.
Like, a lot of things are out of his control.
Right. So this offense, they got 7 on a pick 6, probably would have put up more if they just executed a little bit more. And that's why the guys on the other side against your offense get paid the big bucks. So again, if you're objectively looking at this, the 49ers offense is trending in the correct direction and they are getting better. And there's still more juice left. There's still more juice left. Just a little bit more, right? Like, wait till Trent Williams comes back. Wait till Elijah Mitchell comes back. Wait till this offense really, really starts to get clicking before you make any sweeping statements. As of right now, they are moving in the correct direction. That's it. It's
all you could ask for at this point, right? It's just, especially too, like, I think a lot of people forget as well that, because of who he is, like, this is a guy who didn't have a training camp. This is a guy who didn't have any preseason snaps. There's an argument to be made that we're back to, remember how I made the joke of week 3 being week 1? We could even have that fun again that this week's week 1 because Jimmy Garoppolo just got his 3 weeks of preseason in, right? So there's a lot of ways to look at it. And as I said, like Jason and I understand why Jimmy Garoppolo is the lightning rod he is. We're not trying to poo-poo that idea because we get it. It just comes down to, I think he deserves more credit than what he's given when he does have these games where the Niners look good.
And one more thing, quarterback play and offenses as a whole are down on a 10-year stretch. Like, it hasn't been this bad for 10 years. So it's everyone. It's even your GOAT's GOAT. Your favorite GOAT's favorite GOAT. Like, literally, those guys are the ones that aren't even performing to their standards. So as of right now, this is where the game is. There's a large discussion at hand about defenses and how they're actually changing the way things are overall. Shout out to Vic Fangio. That's for Rich Madrid, because there's a large discussion of how much of Vic Fangio's footprints are all over the league now in terms of how defenses run. But it's just guys. Again, let's end this Jimmy Garoppolo discussion and talk about the defense. But let's end it this way. When he plays well, we're going to say he played well. When he plays poorly, we're going to say he played poorly. I don't know why it needs to be more complicated than that. I don't.
No, and none of it is ever going to change our overarching opinion on him. He is who he is at this point, and we know that. And that's just kind of what it is. As Jason said, let's get to the injuries now. Real quick, the Commanders and Bears have traded punts. Thursday Night Football is going on right now. We are not live. So the official practice report for Thursday, we don't have Friday's practice report because once again, it's Thursday, Jason. No Armstead, no Bosa, no Kinlaw. 3 players on the defensive line that are
travel.
Very important. And Armstead didn't travel. So I guess that's all you need to know there. Emmanuel Mosley obviously did not practice. Jimmy Ward did not practice. Trent Williams did not practice. Limited Aaron Banks, Samson Ebukam, Tyler Kroft, Tavarius Moore. And I'm assuming since Ebukam was limited, that's trending in the right direction. But Achilles injuries are always scary. So now we are talking about the Niners' top 2 pass rushers in terms of depth chart, not production, in terms of depth chart.
No, in terms of production.
In terms of production as well, yes. Ebukam's a very good yes. I give him that as well. The Niners are missing them. Potentially. Obviously don't know where Ebukam is yet. It's Thursday. We don't know what Friday happened. But that makes it more important on Charles Omenihu, Drake Jackson, players like that to step up against the semi-mobile quarterback. I know Mariota's not as mobile as he used to be, but it is a type of quarterback that's given the Niners issues in the past. It's concerning, to say the least. I think that's fair to say. I think at the very least, it's concerning.
Yeah, and it should be. Look, we lauded this team for their depth on the defensive line, but it's hard when you're literally missing your starting defensive line, right? Mm-hmm. And let's be clear. The 49ers defensive line that's behind them could start for many teams. That's fine. That's not what we're here to argue. What I'm saying is that's not where you want to be. It's not ideal. It's, in the words of Aaron Boone after every single Yankees loss, it's not what you want. It's not the result you want. But at the same time, when you look at this offensive line for the Falcons and the way they're built to hold on to your hats and tell me if this sounds familiar, 49ers fans. They're built to run the ball, but they're not so good in pass pro. Oh, wait. Arthur Smith is their coach. Oh, wait. He's a Kyle Shanahan understudy. Oh, wait. DeMeco Ryans knows how to stop Kyle Shanahan understudies. So, look, yes, you don't want to have, obviously, your top 4 guys out. But when you look at the way this team is coached, when you look at the scheme they're going against, also, by the way, guys, and this is like not even some earth-shattering news, but if this is breaking news, then, make sure you sit down for this. Marcus Mariota is not good.
No.
So now what you are more worried about are fluke plays and contain in the pocket and broken plays and things like that. For me, Marcus Mariota doesn't exactly strike fear in my heart. Obviously, Emmanuel Mosley not being there, that's not good. Clearly, I'm not going to sit here and act like that's good. I don't care if Jason Verrett is waiting in the wings, which he's not going to play in this game either. Let's just get that out of the way. Yeah. So, at the same time, my confidence lies with DeMeco Ryans and being able to scheme and being able to stop the problems from happening. He's been very good at adjustments during the game as well, too. Like, just because your team is banged up doesn't mean that your team should yield a game against a roster that's inferior to you.
Yeah.
And that's where the 49ers are in terms of depth. But it's not what you want. It's not ideal. It's not exactly what you're looking for. But it's time now. Omenihu step up. Hyder step up. Drake Jackson gets some more run. Now Drake Jackson's going to get all the run that he ever wanted, right? Like on the edge. We're going to see real quickly like what we have here with him. Hassan Ridgeway. Like many guys are going to have to step up. T.Y. McGill, who just got signed to the roster as well, too. We also make sure that we, I know we didn't point this out on the beginning of the show, but there's like 7 revenge games in this game, and it's going to be hard for us to pick which one. But if the 49ers, again, and I feel like I'm a broken record, and if you hear me say this, take a drink, but drink responsibly because it's going to put you in a bad spot. The 49ers are the team depth-wise, coach-wise, roster-wise that we believe they are. They'll finish this game off and get the win against the Atlanta Falcons.
I'm very curious too, just with the amount of injuries the Niners defense is dealing with, is if this is going to be a heavy D'Amico Ryans sends blitzes games, because we've seen him do that more than Robert Saleh ever really did. I mean, Fred Warner felt like he was blitzing more often than he wasn't against the Rams. I mean, he only had, I think, 5 blitzes, but like that's a lot for Fred Warner. So I'm curious to see what the actual adjustments are going to be, because this is very tough, because you're missing your second corner, you're missing your presumed third corner as well, because Jason Verrett's not going to be there. And now you're potentially missing your top 2 edge rushers, your top 2, like this isn't the top 2 edge rushers, top 2 defensive tackles, like every spot except linebackers is missing someone.
Look, all right, real quick, just to instill some more confidence in the 49ers in their depth, just to point out something funny. If I tell you that a team lost their starting quarterback, running back, left tackle, starting linebacker, starting free safety, starting cornerback 2, what would their team look like? What would their prospects look like, Andrew Pasquini?
Probably not great, to say the least.
and you know what's the funny part? Not all of these guys have season-ending injuries.
No.
So the 49ers are one of these rare teams that right now are scary because of the way that they play, but they're going to get reinforcements. And I think that is hilarious when you really think about it, when you really, really think about where this team is. So for people that are like, well, you're biased and, you're a homer. Nah, the Green Bay Packers don't have anybody coming back. The Tampa Bay Bucks offensive line is what it is. The Philadelphia Eagles largely are who they are. The Dallas Cowboys are the team that scares me the most, because they have one significant thing coming back. They're starting quarterback. But the 49ers have so many things coming back, and yet they've been able to right the ship, manage the boat, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not good to see stuff.
Haven't missed a beat.
Right. There you go. And still have these things on the way. This is what has so many 49er fans excited.
The Bears just converted a 4th and 1 at the Commanders.
I'm watching it, and they're.
I'm just reminding the people in the
jerseys
comments.
Are gross, by the way.
I'm okay with the orange. I think I'm okay with the orange. I think the orange jerseys are a bit overkill. The orange helmets are fine. I like teams doing different things. Niners should never change the gold helmets, but I'm cool with other teams trying to. Speaking of uniforms, we're gonna get a very nice uniform matchup in Atlanta. The Falcons are wearing the red helmets. I wish the Niners would wear the 94 jerseys, but it's not like their jerseys are much different than because for the youngins, and I guess I count as a youngin because I don't remember this. The Niners and Falcons used to have a very good division rival. I don't remember it. My dad has told me plenty of times. Yes, NFC West. This is a back-to-back week.
In the NFC West.
What?
The Saints were in the NFC West.
The Panthers were as well, right?
Yes.
So this is back-to-back. So many division games this year, right? The Niners have 9. That's wild. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the Falcons to wear the red. I was very excited when they announced it was the Niners because I like jersey matchups. I think the aesthetic is going to be very, very. I'm a big jersey aesthetic guy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm into it. So I love that. So it's going to have a good throwback feel. Jason, whomst revenge game? You have a few names. I know the big one off the top of my head. That's our boy, Tevin Coleman, wearing Jerick McKinnon's number. Jason, can you please, I know you're going to the game. Can you
wear the McKinnon jersey?
But with Coleman taped over?
Oh, damn it. I had such a nice outfit pick.
Wear that. If you have a nice fit, Jason, be Jason.
Maybe I should wear that to the Niners parties on Saturday.
Yes, the Coleman over, get a piece of duct tape.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I like
that. I like that. I love that. I'll do that. Jason Aponte outfits here on the Sprint Red Option podcast, guys. We love it. Whom's others revenge games you got, Jason?
Well, the obvious one are, bearded, fearless leader, Kyle Shanahan, clearly. But some other interesting ones, Bobby Turner.
Okay.
Daniel Brunskill, who was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
And clearly Tevin Coleman. I mean, Tevin Coleman is the one that everybody needs to look at. But yeah, there's a lot of them, actually. So whomst is a great question. And Daniel Brunskill, I know you asked in the group chat. I've been asking myself. I'm glad someone else asked someone else, so I didn't look crazy. What on earth is going on with Daniel Brunskill coming in and out of the game with Burford? What's the goal here? What's the advantage?
Yeah. And I asked Rich, I asked Brett, I asked Jordan. And the only answer I really got was Brett saying, yeah, it might just be a fresh legs thing. And I actually have the numbers. Burford has played 69 nice snaps at right guard over the last 2 weeks. Brunskill's played 55, and it's not like it's like neither of them are getting cooked in the pass game. At least they've combined for 3 pressures. I had it written down though that they haven't run the ball well behind the right guard. 11 carries for 33 yards. Like outside of because the thing that triggered it was obviously the run rep, or was it a pass rep? I forget, against the Rams, where Donald made Burford, like Burford just didn't even pick up Donald. And it made it seem like, okay, this is Brunskill's job now. But this rotation has been like, it's a 55-45 split. And there's really no meaning behind it. And that's interesting. So that's something to watch for. Justin Fields threw an interception in the red zone.
But did you see how he threw it?
No, I'm just watching the game log.
Justin Fields threw a pass directly into a Washington Commanders defender's helmet, and it bounced straight up in the air for an interception.
Nice.
No. Oh my.
Not nice, but like,
Justin,
nice.
What are you doing? What are you doing, kid? You're killing me.
You would think he would tell the differences between the helmets, considering his team's helmets are orange.
Goodness gracious, man. If Trey Lance did that, they would be running him up and down the street, man. Goodness gracious, man.
Personal, one more Hoom's revenge game. It is a Sprint Right Option podcast revenge game.
Oh, yeah.
The first ever Pitts and Kits Bowl. I think we should call it a Kits and Pitts since we're the 49ers, but Kits should be first. So the first ever Kits and Pitts Bowl. Remember, we were very big. Could you? Second. Is this the second? Oh, they played last year.
Last year.
Christ, they did, huh? Did Pitts play like he did? Second.
He did.
Second Kits and Pitts game. Yes. Okay. I apologize. God, I can't wait for like 2 years from now to have the conversation of like, should the Niners take in Pitts with the 3rd pick or not?
Well, I hope not. I hope if that's a discussion we've got.
If that's a conversation we're having in 2 years, that's really
it's a bad problem. What I'll ask is a serious question.
Lamar Jackson will be their quarterback anyway. So
hope so. What I will ask to Andrew Pasquini and to the people that are watching this pre-recorded episode, and for everybody talking about trap game, I want to ask and if you can give me this answer, you'll let me know if it's a trap game. Okay. The Atlanta Falcons came into Santa Clara last year with Matt Ryan, Cordero Patterson, Kyle Pitts. Are the Atlanta Falcons better this season than they were last season with Marcus Mariota without Cordero Patterson? Russell Gage isn't even on the team anymore. I mean, Zacchaeus is their backup right now. Drake London is stepping in for one Julio Jones. And like, can you objectively say that this team is better than the team that walked into Santa Clara last season? That's the only question I want to ask.
That's a great question. That's a phenomenal question. I'm going to... It's a small sample size, so like in a month and a half, this might look bad. I'm going to say yes.
Wow.
Just because, like, I mentioned at the top how close they've kept their games, and I think, like, the semi-competitiveness of them, I know they haven't played the best teams yet, but the fact that, like, they're in these games, I mean, they were a horrendous roughing the passer away from potentially beating, like, obviously, they got to go down and score a touchdown.
Division game,
so a lot of things can change, obviously. But like, if you look at their first, and this is obviously a very weak argument. If you look at their first 5 games last season, 32-6, they lost. 48-25, they lost. They got blown out the first 2 weeks. They weren't very competitive. I know they straightened it out a little bit. They finished 7-10. Based off the small sample size we've had on these Falcons, just based off how competitive and close they've stayed, I'll say yes, but by a thin margin. Like, it's not like I'm saying the 2022 Falcons are beating the 2021 Falcons every time. It's probably a 5-5 split, dare I say, but I'll say sure, why not?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, that's fair.
And
I didn't exactly give a convincing answer.
No, it's not even that. And the only thing that you can really say about this game that is different is this defense is missing quite a few people. Yeah. And last season, the defense was largely intact. So I'll give you that. But at the same time, when I look at this team, when I look at the way that they played some really close games. Credit to them.
Yeah.
This game is going to be a lot closer than we believe it is. But I still don't think they are better than the team that walked into Santa Clara last season. I would be shocked if this team finished with the same record that last year's team did or better. I'd be very shocked.
7-10 would be the bar.
Yeah.
I don't think they pass that, so that's fair
right.
as well.
So I don't think they're going to pass that. So again, styles make fights. Again, you can have all the depth you want, but if impact players aren't there, then it's a fine discussion. I understand that, but at the same time, there's no problem in having faith in your team. No problem in having faith in your coaching. 49ers are probably going to win this game.
I'm going to counterpoint the shit out of you here.
Go.
I think they'll finish better than 7-10. Actually.
Why is that?
After the Niners, they go at Cincinnati, probably a loss.
Loss.
The Panthers.
Loss.
That's an
division game.
Right? Division game, never know. But if all things are right, like I think they're better. The Chargers, which probably is a loss. And then they go at Panthers versus Bears, at Commanders versus Steelers.
Ooh. Man.
That could, like, you could be talking about they could easily go 5-2 over that stretch.
They could easily also have a new quarterback during that.
They could it's fully possible that the Falcons go 0-7 in that stretch.
No, well, I don't even mean that. I just think that they get sick of Mariota for a little bit because there's been plenty of discussion about, like, why aren't we playing the kid?
But I could also see a world where they finish the stretch after the Niners 5-2, and that'd be your 7 wins right there. So I mean, the schedule says maybe, but I don't think so.
I'll say no.
Yeah, I'll still say no. But the schedule low key, because their last 4 games at New Orleans, at Baltimore, Arizona Buccaneers, that probably
4 losses.
4. Yeah. So maybe, who knows? Maybe it's just a tie. Maybe they just finished 7-10, and that's where we're at. But yeah, no, the Falcons are definitely an interesting team because, as we said, they've stayed competitive, and that's, dare I say, that's half the battle as a bad team.
One more thing, Grady Jarrett has a chance to really destroy games. Yes. So this interior O-line,
pressures.
Yeah, this interior O-line is going to get a really stiff test. So I'm very interested to figure out how Banks, Burford, and Brendel do, as David Lombardi has named them the law firm. Banks, Brendel, and Burford.
How do you not throw in Brunskill too?
Well, Brunskill's not a starter, but he also did say that.
Yeah, but he rotates enough.
Right. So Banks, Burford, Brendel, Brunskill, and Burford sounds like a law firm. It's a good nickname. It's a good nickname. I like it.
Bees, we like it.
But let's figure out what the law firm can do. Grady Jarrett is somebody who deeply concerns me because he has the ability to write games. Look no further than the 2019 game in which the 49ers lost right after the Saints game. So that if you want me to, be humble, oh, Jason, you're too cocky. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, Grady Jarrett, he has a chance to wreck the game. That's the type of player he is. That's how good he is.
Yeah, it was the Falcons game after the Saints game, but then before the Rams game, which the Niners tend to lose embarrassingly in front of the Rams. Are we already at that point? Predictions? Are we here?
Yeah,
we are here. Okay, predictions. I'm going to continue the trend of against the spread, the ATS Falcons. I'm going to call them that instead of the ATL, the ATS Falcons. 5-0 against the spread. The spread is 5.5. I'm going to stay within that. Niners 27, Falcons 21. No, that's 6. Damn, I suck at math. Shit. I can't think of a 5. I'm going to go 26. I'm going to go 27-21, just outside of the spread. They'll be 5-1 against the spread after this game. You see how easily I talked myself out of that stat that I've been talking about all game? 27-21, it's 5-1 against the spread.
Give me the Niners 27-23. They actually cover in this.
That's a number that makes sense. I could have done that. I picked it. Yeah, okay.
27-23. The games are going to be a lot closer than people would like. Probably going to come down to them stopping the Atlanta Falcons at the end on defense. But yeah, not me overlooking them. The 49ers won't overlook them. But this game is going to be a lot more close for comfort than many 49er fans believed, especially Andrew Pasquini and Jason Aponte earlier on in this week or the week before against the Carolina Panthers.
Shout out Avatar. He's been yelling at us.
Way to shut us up, buddy. Way to go, credit. And Avatar, also, we reserve the right to come back and say ha ha ha, they got blown out. They're not that good.
Yeah, dude. When the Niners win like 49-7, we're gonna be like, we told you, dude.
We told you. What were you worried about the Falcons for?
He talked us out of the Falcons being bad, but we reserve the right to say, nah, you never talked us out of it.
No, shout out to Avatar, man. He's a good listener of ours, man. I'm just kidding with you, man. We're just having some fun.
Hey, Jason, this non-live podcast combined for as many points as the Commanders and Bears combined for in that first quarter. 0.
My TV has this feature that when you don't touch it for a while, it tells you, after I think it's like 3 hours, it tells you, hey, do you want to turn this off? It actually turned on 15 minutes after the game started. So I think my TV is looking out for my well-being and my entertainment.
Baseball should be so happy the Yankee game got rained out, because the headline tomorrow would have been like 114 million people tuned into Amazon Prime to watch the Bears and Commanders tie 0-0, and 9 people tuned in to watch the Yankees. And like that they avoided those headlines for the day.
This is the funniest thing, because the same people that were crying about last week's game in which we had no touchdowns are the same people that are just like you and I and watching this game. So, guys, stop crying and stop complaining, because the funny part is all you do all offseason. Man, I wish there was football. I don't care. I'd watch this team play football. But then when these are the matchups, now all of a sudden it's a problem. Stop it. You only get 18 weeks, and then whatever the postseason is of NFL football, you will watch every single damn game and you will like it.
Oh, yeah, no, the NFL definitely knows I have an embarrassment kink, so it works out. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners. And the Yankees are up 2-0. God, I hope so, man.
God. Oh, hopefully it ages well.
Yep.
Giant.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.